Discover the incredible hidden truths of life. 7 heartwarming lessons that transform everything. In a small Midwestern town, the air was thick with dreams and untold stories. Jake stood behind the counter of the family diner, fingers stained with grease, heart racing with purpose. The diner was more than a place to eat. It was a sanctuary of memory. His late wife, Mary, had poured her love into every meal, turning simple ingredients into masterpieces. Now, with the diner shrinking under the weight of bills and empty chairs, Jake felt the pressure mount. Every morning he woke before dawn, determined to keep the flickering neon sign alive, doing it all for his daughter, Lily. Lily was the light in Jake's life. At just 8 years old, she was a whirlwind of energy, laughter spilling over in the corners of their modest home. Each night they shared dinner on the rickety wooden table, a memory of their better days. The worn-out seats creaked with every word as Jake recounted stories about her mother, weaving lessons of kindness and hard work into the fabric of their evening. "Remember, honey, it's not just about the food, it's about the heart we put into it," he would say, eyes gleaming with nostalgia. Yet, as time passed, the diner faced formidable challenges. In a town with shadows of economic downturn, shiny new eateries sprouted like weeds, laughing down at Jake's humble establishment. It hurt to see customers drift away, trading nostalgic comfort for trendy menus. But Jake fought against this tide, believing in the soul of his diner, the memories embedded in every corner. He clung tight to hope. Then an annual local festival emerged on the horizon, a beacon of potential. Jake knew this was his moment, a chance to revitalize the diner, to bring back the community. With a pounding heart, he modernized the menu, confident this risk would pay off. But when the festival arrived, it backfired spectacularly. The new dishes failed to resonate, and the night turned disastrous, leaving a bitter taste in his mouth. As he looked around at the empty chairs, tears threatening to fall, his heart ached heavier than ever. Before despair could settle in, whispers of his struggle rippled through the town. Neighbors who had once enjoyed a hot meal cooked by Mary rushed in, offering kind words and helping hands. Families brought in pots and pans, turning a slow night into a bustling scene. Love and unity flourished where doubt once reigned, reigniting the spirit of the diner. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Jake found himself in a heated town council meeting, emotions boiling as a dismissive councilman scoffed at his plight. "It's just a diner," the man sneered. But Jake stood tall, voice unwavering, his passion igniting the room. "A diner is more than just a business. It's a lifeline. It's family." The townsfolk began to shift, murmurs of agreement rising around him. As Jake spoke of the 7 truths he learned from his mother: grit, compassion, integrity, he felt the atmosphere change. Tension crackled in the room, and he could see understanding spark in the eyes of his community. But just as hope soared, a question loomed. Would they rally together before it was too late? One thing was clear. In the heart of that diner, love fought fiercely against the odds, waiting for the chance to thrive. The meeting room buzzed with a cacophony of whispered conversations, but Jake's heart still pounded in his chest. Each face reflected something different: curiosity, concern, and a flicker of hope. He held tightly onto that feeling, unwilling to let doubt creep in. After what felt like an eternity, one of his old friends, Carla, rose from her seat. "Jake, you know what this diner means to all of us. It's where my husband proposed. It's where our kids learned how to tie their shoes while waiting for milkshakes. We can't let it go." Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, and a wave of murmurs followed her words. "That's right. We all have stories that started in this place," came a voice from the back. Beth, the local librarian, stood up next, arms crossed as if ready to defend a cherished secret. "Let us not forget every book club meeting that happened over those booths. Your diner gave us a community," she continued, heart pounding in rhythm with Jake's. Jake felt the warmth of support flooding around him, and the sharp lines of despair began to blur under a new hope. They were rising together, standing for something they valued deeply. We need each other, he said, his voice steady, and I need all of you. I can't do this alone. Slowly but surely, the council meeting transformed into a brainstorming session. People offered ideas and resources, passionate discussions took shape, each contributing to a larger vision. It wasn't just about saving a diner. It was about saving their connection, a thread that had once been so strong but now felt frayed and at risk of breaking. Before long, they were planning a new event, one that would celebrate the diner's history and bring the community closer. A reopening with a memories night. Someone called out, and the room erupted into cheers. Families would bring their favorite dishes, nostalgic favorites cooked with love, uniting their kitchen stories in a feast. Lily sat quietly at the back, absorbing every word, her small hands gripping the edge of her chair. She could feel the change in the air. This was their chance to honor her mother, to celebrate the heart that used to beat in this diner. Jake knew he'd never let her down again. As word spread through their small town, excitement filled the days leading up to the event. Flyers were posted and social media lit up with photos of old meals. Happy memories echoed in shared stories. Jake watched as his friends rallied, not just for the diner but for each other. The night of the event, the diner was transformed. Strings of lights adorned the old walls, and the comforting scent of home-cooked meals wafted through the air. Laughter bubbled like boiling pots, and the once empty chairs were filled with familiar faces, each remarking how much they missed those simple times. But as the crowd settled in, a shadow lurked in Jake's mind. The pressure remained. Would this revival truly change their fate? He glanced at Lily, smiling brightly, and knew he'd do everything necessary to keep love and memory alive. Just as Jake stepped away to check on the food, a stranger pushed through the door. The room fell silent, eyes shifting curiously. She wore a worn leather jacket and had a determined look, as if she carried secrets of her own. "Excuse me," she said, scanning the room. "Are you Jake?" And in that moment, the weight of the night shifted. The rhythm of hope hung delicately on the edge of uncertainty. What could this unexpected visitor reveal that might change everything? Jake's breath hitched as he faced the stranger. The loud laughter and chatter in the diner receded into a distant hum, leaving only the soft sound of his heartbeat in his ears. The woman's dark eyes pierced through the crowd and locked onto his with a fierce intensity. An air of mystery surrounded her, wrapping the room in uncertainty. "Yeah, I'm Jake," he finally managed to say, a slight tremor in his voice. "Can I help you?" The woman stepped closer, the chatter around them fading further as though the world had narrowed to just the two of them. "I had to find you," she said, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "My name is Rachel. Your mom." Jake's heart sank. His mother had always been a topic avoided with care since her passing. "What about her?" he asked, the chill of the past creeping into his spine. Rachel took a deep breath, her gaze softening just a fraction. "She didn't just leave. She left something behind. Something important you need to know." The collective interest of the crowd began to bubble again, with curious glances shot in Jake's direction. Questions itched at their lips, but Jake, feeling another wave of vulnerability, raised a hand to silence them. He turned back to Rachel. "What do you mean? What did she leave?" Rachel hesitated, as if weighing the gravity of her next words. "She had a will. A piece of it specifically mentioned you, something about the diner." Jake felt a knot form in his stomach. What could his mother have left him? "Where is it?" he breathed, anticipation and anxiety battling within him. "It's in a box at her old place. I can help you find it, but, Jake, it's going to change everything." The word everything echoed in his mind. The past few weeks had been filled with hope and community, and now this outsider was threatening to turn that upside down. "Why now? Why didn't you come sooner?" Rachel's expression turned brittle. "I didn't know until recently. After your family moved, I found out more. Things were left unsaid." The unexpected connection between his past and present twisted Jake's heart like a clenched fist. Memories of his mother, of shared laughter in this very diner, flooded back. If she had something left for him, something about this diner that meant so much to everyone, what could it be? "Do you think it's about saving the diner?" Jake asked, voice barely above a whisper. "It could be," Rachel said, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "But it could also be something that changes how you see your family, your life, everything." Gaze now heavy, Jake took a deep breath. The comforting sounds of the diner began to seep back in as he glanced at the smiling faces around him. Lily, holding a plate of her favorite mac and cheese, watched him with wide eyes. He realized that whatever was in that box could shatter their newfound hope or strengthen it further. Rachel leaned closer. "You'll want to decide what to do soon. I'm leaving town tomorrow." Panic surged through him. "Wait, don't go. We have to talk about this. Meet me in the morning. I'll tell you everything." As Rachel stepped back, blending into the crowd, Jake felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily on his shoulders. His dreams of a reopened diner, a thriving community, now dangled precariously on a thread, tangled with secrets from a past he thought he had buried. The diner buzzed with warmth and laughter, but Jake knew the morning would bring a truth that could tear it all apart. What if facing his past meant risking everything he had just begun to build? And just like that, one question loomed large in his mind. Could the revelations from the past be what it takes to forge a brighter future? The sun began to rise, casting a warm golden hue over the diner's exterior. Jake was already awake, his mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. The tension from the night before lingered in his chest like an old song stuck on repeat. He could still see Rachel's fierce eyes, feel the urgency in her words. The weight of the unknown pressed down on him. He stepped outside, the cool morning air tousling his hair. A few patrons were trickling in, ready for breakfast. He gave them nods, forcing a smile. But deep down, anxiety knotted in his stomach like an unrelenting chain. He couldn't shake the feeling that unraveling the truth about his mother's will would unleash a storm at the same time. Hope flickered, a chance to discover something beyond the diner, something that felt monumental. Jake wiped his palms on his apron, steeling himself for what lay ahead. What would he find in that box? What truth could change everything? Just as he was about to slip back inside, Jake spotted Rachel walking towards him from across the street. She was dressed casually, yet there was an air of determination about her. He watched as she approached slowly, holding a small, faded envelope in her hands, its edges worn and frayed. "Hey," she greeted softly, her voice steady but with a hint of apprehension. "Thanks for meeting me." Jake nodded, words evading him. She held the envelope out and he took it, hands trembling. Felt almost sacred. He looked down at it, feeling as if it contained not just paper, but years of their past intertwined in ink. "Before you open it," Rachel began, "I need you to know that whatever is inside it may challenge your memories. It's important to see the bigger picture of your family's story." His heart raced. The bigger picture? What did that even mean? "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice strained. Rachel drew a breath, her eyes steady on him. "Your mother had her reasons for keeping things hidden. Reasons that are complicated. I believe this will help you understand her choices, and maybe even yourself." Jake's throat felt tight. The thought of unraveling more of his mother's life made him uneasy. Deep down, he had always avoided digging into the shadows of her past, believing it would only bring more hurt. But now it seemed impossible to ignore. "Just open it," Rachel encouraged gently. "It's time." With a hesitant hand, Jake tore open the envelope. Inside was a folded piece of paper, a letter written in his mother's flowing script. He felt the words thrumming in the air around him as he unfolded it, savoring the moment before reading. The first few lines sent his mind reeling even before he had fully processed what they meant. His mother talked about choices, dreams, and a burden she carried silently. Jake's eyes widened with each revelation, each unwrapped layer of the past that twisted into the present. His heart raced as a sea of emotions washed over him: anger, sadness, relief, clarity. Without realizing it, tears began to pool in the corners of his eyes. At that moment his mother felt so present, so close, as if she was standing beside him, urging him to understand. "What does it say?" Rachel finally asked, patience wrapped in curiosity. Jake's voice was choked with emotion. I need a moment." He couldn't shake the feeling that whatever he was about to learn, it would change everything he thought he knew. As he absorbed the words, a question burned in his mind. Was he ready to confront a legacy that might not fit the image of the mother he held dear? Before he could collect his scattered thoughts, he heard Lily's voice nearby, her cheerful laughter echoing through the diner. "Jake, what's wrong?" The weight of the world felt heavy on his shoulders. "You have no idea, Lily," he whispered. Was he ready to unveil family secrets that could either forge a new path for himself, or crush the dreams he had begun to build. The truth was closer than he had thought, waiting to be discovered, and it terrified him. Jake stood frozen, the letter trembling in his hands. Words echoed in his mind, colliding against a backdrop of memories. He felt Rachel's gaze, warm yet probing, as if she could peel back the layers of his hesitation. How can I face this? He mumbled under his breath, not ready for the conversation ahead. Inside him an inner battle raged. He wanted to run, to hide from the painful truths that might spring forth. But the gravity of Rachel's presence grounded him. They had to untangle this mess together. He took a deep breath, steadying his voice. What if I'm not ready for what this reveals? Rachel stepped closer. You've been living in your mother's shadow for too long. This could set you free. Jake looked into her eyes, seeing an echo of the shared history they both held, the laughter, the tears, and the moments of pure joy. But this was different. What lay before him felt heavier and far more serious. His mother's story intertwined with his own, and he could feel the threads pulling taut. What did she keep hidden? He finally whispered, the question slipping from his lips like a prayer. Let us find out, Rachel replied, her encouragement softening the sharp edges of his fear. With hesitant resolve, he returned his attention to the letter. The words seemed to breathe life as he reread them. She talks about love and forgiveness. But then there are these names that I don't recognize. Confusion wrapped tightly around him. Why would she mention a man named David? Who is he? Rachel leaned in, curiosity compelling her. These could be connections you've never considered. A flicker of resentment ignited within Jake. Connections I never wanted. He dropped the letter, frustration boiling over. The uncertainty of what he might uncover drove him wild. You need to understand that everyone has parts of their life that they guard. It doesn't mean they loved you any less, Rachel said softly. Your mother might have hidden things to shield you. But you deserve to know the truth. Jake's heart ached at that thought. What if his mother had kept secrets to protect him, but in doing so, had also constructed a wall too high to scale? I just feel so lost, he admitted, his voice cracking. What if I don't like what I find? Rachel reached out, her hand clasping his wrist with surprising warmth. Whatever you discover, you won't be alone. Promise. With a nod, Jake picked the letter back up. The weight infused him with newfound determination. All right. Let us dive into it. The words on the page began to take on a different tone. They were no longer simply painful memories but keys that might unlock the door to understanding his mother's choices and, in turn, his own identity. Just then the bell above the diner door jingled, slicing through the moment. Jake turned to see Lily hurrying towards them, her face lit with excitement. Hey, I think I heard you guys talking about something cool. Are you planning a mystery? Jake's heart sank. How would he explain the turmoil brewing in his soul to Lily, whose lightheartedness felt like a stark contrast to his fading composure? Something like that, he replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Can I help? Lily's eyes sparkled with innocence, unaware of the chasm opening beneath them. Jake's heart twisted. How could he involve a kid in this world of adult complexities? The secrets began to swirl in his mind again, heavy and chaotic, drowning out the laughter of the diner. Before he could respond, Rachel nudged him slightly, renewed determination shining through her gaze. We can all discover this together. But could they? Would the layered truths bring them closer or shatter their fragile bonds? As Jake turned back to Rachel, his heart stuttered. Could revealing the truth truly shape his future for the better? And was he prepared for how the pieces might fit together or shatter into something unrecognizable? The weight of the choice loomed over him. What would he decide next? Jake took a moment to breathe, the whirlwind of emotions swirling around him like autumn leaves dancing in the wind. He felt the palpable weight of Rachel, her reassurance grounding him in the chaos. Still, the thought of dragging Lily into the mess was daunting. What do you think you can help with? He asked, forcing a grin that didn't quite settle on his face. Lily bounced slightly on her toes, her enthusiasm infectious. I'm a great detective. I can help find answers to any mystery. Rachel chuckled softly. Knowing you, you probably could. Jake wanted to believe it too, to harbor the same innocence that Lily carried effortlessly. But the stakes felt too high. The memories trapped behind the letter were alive, waiting to be confronted. Lily, it's complicated. The words fell heavy on his tongue. But she tilted her head, her curiosity unyielding. Complicated can be fun. Like puzzles, right? He sighed, visions of scattered puzzle pieces filling his mind, all their edges sharp and jagged. Maybe. But some puzzles come with hidden corners, ones that you don't really want to see. Rachel's grip on his wrist tightened, a silent message to help him navigate this rocky landscape. Maybe she's right, Jake. Having Lily here could lighten the load. More eyes might capture what we miss. For the first time he saw a spark of possibility. Could they approach this together as a team? Could sharing this burden actually render it lighter? All right, Jake relented, resolve settling in. We'll explore this together. He looked at Lily, who beamed brightly, the innocence of her spirit reigniting a flicker of hope within him. Just promise me you'll keep an open mind. Lily nodded fervently, her ponytail bouncing with each movement. I won't give up until we solve this mystery. The moment, despite its heaviness, felt lighter somehow. Maybe the truth wouldn't tear them apart. Maybe it could bring them closer together instead. Rachel leaned in again, her warmth bolstering his courage. Let us start with David. There has to be something here we can dig into. Anything is worth a shot. Jake opened the letter again and blinked at the bold name scrawled in the carefully penned script. With each word he read aloud, introducing David to the conversation, he felt layers fall away. She mentions a park, maybe that's where I can find out more. Let us go there. Lily chirped, determination in her eyes. I'll bet we can find clues. Clues, huh? Jake raised an eyebrow, the hint of a smile creeping onto his lips. As they bounced ideas off each other, a thrilling energy filled the air. Each new possibility transformed the fear into a sense of adventure. The shadows of anxiety began to evaporate, replaced by the warmth of camaraderie. Jake's heart raced as they approached the diner door again, ready to step out into the unknown together. One thing is for certain, he said, looking from Rachel to Lily, whatever we find, we'll uncover it as a united front. Just as they reached the threshold, Jake's phone buzzed in his pocket, jolting him back to reality. He pulled it out, his stomach sinking a bit as he read the name on the screen. It was his mother's old friend, Catherine, someone who held the keys to answers he might not be ready to confront. What now? Rachel asked. Jake hesitated, glancing back at the letter and the weight of its revelations. I think I have to answer this. The air thickened with anticipation, and Lily looked confused. Is it more mystery? Maybe it's something we've been waiting for, Jake said quietly, realizing the road ahead was about to take another unexpected turn. And as he pressed the answer button, a spark of dread mixed with excitement pulsed through him. What would Catherine reveal? Would it help tie everything together or unravel it further? His heart raced and he held his breath, waiting for the words on the other end of the line. Hello? Catherine's voice crackled through the phone, threading itself into the tapestry of Jake's tangled emotions. Hey Catherine. It's Jake, he managed to say, adrenaline slamming against his ribcage. He could hear her breathing on the line, steady and warm, a reminder of a familiar comfort wrapped in concern. Jake, it's been too long. How are you? There was a softness in her tone, but Jake could sense the weight behind her question. She knew this call wasn't about casual updates. I'm good. I actually, needed to talk to you. He glanced over his shoulder at Rachel and Lily. Their eyes were glued to him, an unspoken question hanging in the air between them. Is this about your mother? I heard things were hard. The empathy in Catherine's voice felt like a balm on an open wound, yet it dug deeper into the heart of what he had been avoiding. I guess yeah. It's about the letter, the one I found. It mentioned you, and his words wavered, hesitating at the threshold of something painful. Rachel leaned closer, her presence fortifying. Catherine inhaled sharply. Oh, I see. You found it then. A pause filled the space like a lingering scent of unsettled history. There are things I didn't want to come to light. Things I thought were buried. Jake's throat tightened. I need to know, Catherine. What was my mother hiding? What happened? The urgency in his voice cracked through the hesitancy, pushing against the invisible barriers that trapped his curiosity. It's complicated, Jake. Your mother protected you from the truth. But if you're asking now, it means you're ready to face it. Catherine's words danced around the truth like shadows. They were there but still just out of reach. Ready to face it? The doubt seeped into his thoughts. Did he really want the truth? Nothing felt certain anymore. Listen, there are things we never understood when we were younger, Catherine continued. The warmth of nostalgia mixed with a hint of sorrow. Your mother tried to shield you, but history has a way of revealing itself. You're right to seek clarity. Lily tugged his shirt, her little voice uncertain. Is she talking about more puzzles, Jake? Jake looked down at her, the innocence in her gaze almost unbearable amidst the weight of the conversation. Something like that, he whispered, forcing a reassuring smile. Meet me at the old park tomorrow afternoon? Catherine suggested. There's something I need to show you, a piece of the past that belongs to your mother. Okay, he responded, urgency crafting his words. What time? Let us say 2. Her voice softened again, turning almost maternal. And Jake, whatever you hear, know that it doesn't change who you are or the love your mother had for you. With those words, Jake felt tension swirl inside him, fear, hope, dread all intermingling like vibrant colors caught in a storm. Before he could think about it, he said goodbye and hung up, the finality of their conversation resonating in his chest. That was Catherine, he said, steadying himself. We're meeting tomorrow. She knows more about the letter. What does she know? Rachel asked, the concern etched on her brow. He swallowed hard, unsure how to unpack the conversation even for them. She says it's about my mom's past. Something I need to understand. Lily picked up on the tension. But you'll be okay, right? Jake knelt down, meeting her eyes. I hope so, kiddo. But whatever it is, we'll face it together. Rachel offered her hand, and he grasped it tightly, drawing strength from her warmth. The unknown loomed ahead, thick like fog, but a tiny spark of understanding glimmered through it. Would tomorrow unveil the secrets? Or would it complicate things even further? Let us get some rest, Rachel suggested, and Jake nodded, glancing out toward the horizon where the sun dipped low, casting a golden hue across their lives. But as he stepped away, another thought gnawed at him. What if everything he believed about his mother was about to shift forever? That question lingered, a whisper as they left the diner, the weight of unseen challenges resting on their shoulders. Tomorrow held promises of revelation and upheaval. And in that space between hope and fear, Jake couldn't avoid the truth any longer. He knew deep down that tomorrow might just change everything. The next day dawned with a heaviness that settled on Jake's chest. The morning light filtering through the curtains felt almost foreign, each ray a reminder of the truth looming over him. He glanced at Rachel, still asleep beside him, her peaceful face contrasting sharply with the turmoil inside him. Lily was still tucked under her blanket in the next room, blissfully unaware of the storm about to hit their little world. As he slid out of bed, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Today could alter everything he knew about himself, about his family. He made his way to the kitchen, brewing coffee, the machine gurgling softly like the bubbling thoughts racing in his mind. He wanted to call Catherine again, to somehow delay the impending confrontation, but he pushed that urge aside. The truth needed to emerge, whether he was ready or not. After a few sips of coffee, he went to check on Lily. She was sitting up now, eyes squinting as sunlight crept in. Morning, Jake, she chirped, her voice bright and full of energy. For a moment, her innocence wrapped him in warmth. Are you going to do the puzzle today? Jake chuckled softly, trying to keep his smile from faltering. Sort of, kiddo. It's a special puzzle. Lily tilted her head, curiosity sparking in her bright blue eyes. Can I help? His heart swelled. Of course, but this one might just be for me. After breakfast, the clock swept closer to 2. Jake's palms felt clammy as the hands of time seemed to mock him. With each tick he could feel the tension mounting, a coil ready to snap. Rachel noticed it too. Jake, you okay? Yeah, just thinking, he replied, but the words felt as flimsy as his confidence. Rachel reached out, placing a hand over his. Whatever happens, we're in this together. Just remember you're not alone. He nodded, appreciating her support, but time pressed on. He quickly kissed Lily goodbye and left with Rachel, the drive to the park filled with silence heavier than a thick blanket. The familiar trees loomed ahead, shadows dappling the ground as he parked. Do you want me to come with you? Rachel asked, her eyes searching his. Jake hesitated, the weight of his past pressing down. I think I need to do this alone, but I'll call you immediately. Promise. She nodded, not fully content but understanding. Just be careful, okay? Stepping into the park, the air felt electric. His heart raced with every step toward the old oak tree, where memories from childhood mingled with the unknown. As he approached, Catherine was already there, sitting on the bench, a worn envelope clasped in her hand. "Jake," she greeted him, her voice a mixture of relief and apprehension. "Hey," he said, swallowing hard. "Thank you for coming," she added, her gaze steady but tinged with sadness. "I know this isn't easy. Just tell me what I need to know," he urged, trying to keep his voice steady despite his rising anxiety. Catherine motioned for him to sit, her hands wringing the envelope. This will explain everything. The truth about your mother's past and about your family." Jake felt his pulse quicken, the weight of the moment heavy on his shoulders. 1,000 questions tangled in his mind, but one echoed louder than the rest. What if the truth was more than he could bear? He opened his mouth to ask more, but the words fell away, lost in the fraught air. Catherine slowly handed him the envelope, her fingers trembling slightly. "Read it," she urged gently. "Please." As Jake took the envelope, the world around him seemed to fade. He felt the ancient oak rustling above, whispers of history fluttering through the branches. Before he could pull the contents out, he heard a familiar giggle in the distance. His heart sank. Lily was running toward him with Rachel, joy radiating off her tiny frame. "Jake, look what I found!" Lily shouted, beaming brightly. The moment felt surreal, like a tapestry of joy and dread woven together. Jake's grip on the envelope tightened, thick with uncertainty. Would he have to shield Lily from the truths that could shatter their world? As she neared, her laughter filled the air and Jake felt a war within himself, the urge to protect her clashing against his desperate need for answers. And just like that, the moment stretched and time seemed to slip through his fingers. The horizon of his familial understanding swirled with color, forged in uncertainty, and just behind it lay that hidden truth waiting to burst forth. How could they go forward together when the past held secrets so powerful? Jake took a steadying breath, prepared for a tomorrow he wasn't yet sure he wanted. The envelope trembled in his hand, a silent promise of revelation poised to reshape everything. Just then he realized he was standing on the precipice of a truth that could either illuminate paths ahead or cast dark shadows over their lives. What awaited him inside the envelope? Jake watched as Lily approached, her arms flailing with excitement. Rachel trailed behind, a nurturing smile on her face, but concern lurked in her eyes as she registered his tension. The moment felt so vivid, so charged with conflicting emotions. It was as if destiny had paused to let him grapple with an impending tidal wave of revelation, and the innocence of a child. "Look, Daddy!" Lily shouted, holding up a handful of colorful leaves she had collected. "Isn't this one pretty?" Jake managed a smile, but it felt flimsy under the weight of the envelope in his hand. He knelt to match her height, forcing himself to be present in this small fragment of joy, even as shadows loomed just beyond the laughter. "That is really pretty, Lily. You have a good eye." As she proudly presented more of her finds, Jake felt the distance between the joy in front of him and the darkness waiting in the envelope grow larger. The laugh of his daughter echoed like a haunting tune, holding a bittersweet resonance. Meanwhile, Catherine stood in the background watching. Her expression was serious, almost sympathetic, and it broke through Jake's moment of distraction. He felt a pang of regret about dragging her back into a past they both wished to move beyond. "I can't do this right now," he thought fiercely, backpedaling mentally, still clutching the envelope precariously. Rachel's voice broke into his internal struggle. "You're not reading that here, are you?" Her concern danced in her eyes, pleading with him. Jake felt a wave of guilt, wished he could hide the truth forever, shield the girls from the shadows he feared. But the truth bubbled up in him, demanding to be released. "I have to know," he whispered to himself. Closing his eyes, he briefly shared in the lightness of his daughter's joy. But an all-consuming wave of anxiety crashed over him as he looked back at Catherine. "Do you think it's safe?" he asked, voice barely audible, the cracked facade showing through his bravado. Catherine took a deep breath, but her eyes held no ease. "It's dangerous because it changes everything, Jake. But hiding doesn't make it disappear." The ground under his feet felt unsteady, yet solid in a way that mirrored his internal chaos. He wanted to shout, to scream that he didn't want to be here, that he didn't want to know what was within that envelope. But the undeniable pull of curiosity felt like gravity, a force that kept him anchored. "Let us play a game instead," Lily exclaimed, interrupting their heavy conversation. She reached for Jake's hand, her small fingers wrapping around his. I found so many leaves. Let us see who can find the prettiest one. Rachel laughed softly, the sound soothing and comforting. That sounds perfect to me. But Jake stared at the envelope in his hand, mentally dividing his world into two pieces. One filled with laughter and innocence, the other burdened by heavy truths. He stood at the crossroads of those moments, the laughter of his daughter somehow juxtaposing the gravity of the decision before him. Just give me a minute, he managed to say, gently disengaging from Lily's hand. I need to read something. Lily's excitement dimmed slightly, but her innate cheerfulness remained. Okay, we'll be over there. She and Rachel wandered a few paces away, continuing to play while Jake remained, rooted to the spot. The envelope felt warm in his grip, as if it were alive with secrets, desperately telling him to open it. He took a deep breath, pulled open the flap and slowly began to sift through its contents. The first words sank into his heart like stones. They carried with them not just truths but a flood of emotion, years of hidden pain, connections he had never realized existed, and the profound impact of a legacy he hadn't reckoned with. A single tear slipped down his cheek as he read, the warmth and love of his family colliding with the weight of uncertainty. This revelation wasn't just tangled in their shared past. It was now a part of their present, of the little girl laughing nearby, oblivious to the chaos brewing just beyond her reach. As he turned the page, a new revelation hit him harder than he ever imagined. The ache of realization sharpened his breath, and he found himself teetering on the edge of his next decision. Could he really navigate the storm this piece of paper was about to unleash? Jake looked up, searching for Rachel and Lily, knowing that every choice ahead could change their family forever. He was both thrilled and terrified, ready to plunge into the deep end of this family history. Could he pull them through it together? Or would the bond they had built start to unravel? The storm was brewing, and Jake could feel it gathering strength. A truth this big couldn't stay hidden forever. What might he unearth when he finally dared to confront it? Jake stood outside the diner, the envelope trembling in his hands, feeling the weight of the world pressing down hard on his shoulders. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm glow across the diner's familiar wooden facade. Yet he felt chilled to the bone. The laughter of Lily and Rachel echoed just a few steps away, a reminder of everything he stood to protect. He took a deep breath, narrowing his focus on the words in the letter, the words that could redraw the boundaries of his family, his life, his very identity. With shaky fingers, he peeled open the envelope and pulled out a folded sheet, his heart racing with each unfolding crease as he began to read. Emotions blurred together, a cocktail of nostalgia, anger, and confusion swirled in his chest. Every line drew him deeper into a storm he wasn't sure he was ready to face. Names popped out at him, connections he never expected, each one pulling at threads of memory he had woven into his life with careful precision. Just then, a rush of wind whispered through the trees, but it couldn't drown out the beating of his heart. Each revelation shattered his preconceived notions, framing his mother in a light he had never dared think possible. How could she have kept this from me? He whispered, feeling the tears prick at the corner of his eyes. Jake. Rachel's voice broke through the haze as she approached, concern etching lines into her otherwise calm expression. He quickly folded the letter, afraid to expose its contents just yet. I just found out a lot about my mom, he admitted, his voice faltering. And? Her tone was steady, a comforting presence amid a chaotic storm. It's complicated, he stammered, glancing at Lily, who was skipping stones near the pond, blissfully unaware of the turmoil engulfing his mind. The knot tightened in his gut. There are things I didn't know. About the diner, about our family, and even about relationships. That word hit him like a punch to the gut, twisting hard with emotions he wasn't sure he was ready to feel. We can face this together, Jake. Whatever it is, Rachel said, confidence softening her voice. You're not alone in this. The warmth of her words seeped into his heart, igniting a renewed sense of hope. You're right, he declared, holding her gaze. He let the heaviness in his chest shift, a surge of determination sprouted. We can figure this out. If what I found is true, it might change the way I see everything, but he sighed deeply. It doesn't change the love we have for each other. Exactly, Rachel said, her eyes glistening with understanding. This might just bring us closer together. Memories allow us to move forward. The past, the choices, and the secrets they carried didn't have to define them. They could reshape those edges into a new future. In that moment he made a choice. "Let us do this as a family," Jake said, turning back to Lily. The little girl was now holding a handful of colorful leaves, her eyes shimmering with innocence. Something about her spirit washed over him with a wave of clarity and purpose. "Hey kiddo. You ready for a little adventure?" "Adventure?" "Yes." Lily beamed brightly, rushing over to him, her face alight with excitement. "I found something that could help us know our family even better. We'll uncover the secrets together, all of us," he said, glancing over at Rachel once more to gauge her reaction. Together, Rachel echoed with strength, locking eyes with Lily. Just like family. Thus, with their trio united in purpose, they began a journey in unity, love, and compassion to unearth the truths that had long been hidden. This wasn't just about a letter. It was about reconnecting the threads of their past and navigating through an extraordinary tapestry that would inevitably bind them closer. As they walked further into the park, laughter mingled with whispers of past memories, and Jake felt lighter, buoyed by the realization that together they could endure any storm. The road ahead might be uncertain, but love was the compass they held close. The diner, full of warmth and memories and now filled with the promise of a renewed connection, awaited their discovery. In that moment, a profound truth settled in his heart. The past could guide them, but love would lead them forward. And with that, they stepped hand in hand into the future, ready to take on whatever came next. Now is the time for you to be part of our journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to help fuel the algorithm and keep this amazing community growing. Don't hold back, comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. And share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to show your support. Let us make every moment count.